Okay, so this is a one-way design, and I have now made it two-way design because I have cut it. They are the gaps on the tops of the shelves. That's the shelf going upwards, and now I have joined two pieces together, and there again they are the gaps on the shelves with the shelves going upwards. If I held it up, these shelves are upside down, but I'm not going to hold it up. I'm going to place it on there. I'm going to cut this edge level. Oops. I'm going to cut that edge level now, and so that I've got the piece that is joined together for me to add to the ByAnnie soft and stable. Hi. That was a piece of fabric that I forgot to show you that had come from the Sewing Social, and there's about 3 meters of that. I have washed it and ironed it and was going to take it back this week because I don't know that I can do it justice, and I don't want to just cut it into small pieces for tote bags. I feel a bit guilty about it. Anyway, I wasn't able to go, so I'm going to give it a rethink now. So here's me saying I'm probably not going to be coming on and going on about this Sidekick. I've gone wrong already, and I'm so grateful for some insomnia last night, because in being a bit wakeful I realised that to make this go in the right direction I had done what she'd said, and that was put the pieces together so that you've got the pattern. Well, to me, I did it this way, just like you would with a tote bag or something. I made sure that the bookshelves were running upwards there, or they are the right way up, so you've got space at the top. So the books are all sat on the shelves. You've got space at the top because the books are all sat on the shelves. But what I'd forgotten was this is not something that joins at the bottom. It is going over. And so it needs to be joined not that way, because that would make the bookshelves all be upside down. It needs to be joined this way, and that is what it says on the pattern, join them at the tops. And I was so pleased with myself that I'd jiggled the fabric about so that I could match the actual bookshelves so that they run as if they're level with each other on each side. I don't know if you can understand what I mean. That I'd got so excited I'd reverted to what I would do if I was doing it in a normal bag. So I've just taken that out. I will turn that right sides together, and I purposely didn't press that seam I've just undone so that I didn't do it again. So I'm just going to pin that together, carefully matching each book upright for the bookcase, and then I will press that, and then I can continue with what I've got next, which is, I don't want to lose my thread on my bobbin, attaching it to the soft and stable. So I'll attach that to that side, put a little bit of 505 spray on, mark it for my quilting lines, and then start quilting. And as you can probably hear the pitter-patter or the thrusting of the splashing on the window, we have relatively heavy rain again here on the northwest coast of the UK. So I also really feel quite put together today. I was working again this morning. I'd washed my hair yesterday, and it was all a bit, what's the word, frizzy. And so I contained it this morning and I put it up. I was going to do something with it later, but anyway, I tied it all up, and then I decided I would put on this yellow dress. I really love this dress. I have decided that the spots are really dark navy rather than black, but I don't think you'll notice that that's a problem from where you are, or it's a problem from where I am either. But this feels really good with my Harper Cardi that's It's just the regular length. I just made a mistake when I bought the fabric. I don't know what planet I was on when I ordered it online, and I only got enough to make the regular one, whereas normally I make the very long one. So yeah, it looks good over these puff sleeves into the cuff, and it feels, and it's, I can wear obviously I've got this jumper underneath, and I can wear underskirts underneath, and it's fine, and it's nice and warm, and it's alright. It's a thick cotton jersey or a viscose jersey, but it's quite a heavy weight, or medium to heavy weight, whatever. It's not as heavy as a French terry. But anyway, I'll just give you a quick stand up, and it's not really a show along. I've got to get on with what I'm doing because I'm already behind now. Okay. I've got this strip more than half done now, so I'm just going to do these last few. Fingers crossed that will go well. Okay, just done this first quilt set A. Okay, so I've not been able to video any of this or any explanation at this point. It's absolutely blowing a gale out there, and I've just been doing all the measurements for everything, cutting out all the pieces for the Sidekick and labelling them. And obviously I wouldn't be sharing that with you, but I just wanted to show you. You get an idea of how many components are in ByAnnie bags, and you've just got to put the labels on so you know exactly what you're doing when you come to start constructing it. So it's going dark now, it's going up for 4 o'clock, so I'm going to leave it now for today and hopefully start afresh in the morning. And yes, that's where we're up to so far. Okay, bye for now. Well, today was a strange one because I spent about 3.5 hours up here, and all I managed to make were these two sets of 3 tabs. And I also managed to connect these 2 triangles of fabric so that they're now on the bias and they form a parallelogram, and then I will be cutting those into strips tomorrow and joining the strips together and creating the bias binding for the project. These pieces of furniture and this setup has evolved over time and it just never stays static. So at the moment there are some tweaks yet, but let's see how we go with this. Maybe it'll last a fortnight. Okay. It's gone dark outside. Okay. Bye for now. Okay. Session 4, I think. So I've completed some things. I'll go into that a bit more tomorrow. Okay, just a short update on the Sidekick bag. I'm just almost completing the back pocket. So I'm just putting the binding on the top of the zip, and then I've got a mesh pocket to add to this part. Okay. If I can just compete with the seagulls outside, I'm just now building this pocket. So I've put the zip in, I've put the binding on the top, and now I'm just adding the mesh pocket that's bound at the top with fold over elastic. So that's all I'm doing now. Okay. So to do that, you typically leave a margin on each side of the mesh, and you make sure it's been positioned flat on, and then sew it round. Because if you cut it to size early on, it can pull and it can stretch and it can shrink and it can do all sorts. So usually you put it on quite a bit bigger than it is, width on the bottom, and then trim it to size after that. It might look like the same, but it's not. So I'm preparing now pocket A, so that's the front pocket, and I've got to just mark up all the measurements for where all the placement lines for the pocket, and which pieces need cutting out and which are going to fold, etc., etc. And that is the binding for the top, which will be folded in half and then put on the top, and I'll get back to you in a bit. So this is the one that I've put aside, that I've just finished, put aside, and we're not shortening the zip yet and finishing that off, because we'll do that when we add it to the main pocket. Right, and then this one is another prepared mesh pocket for another part of it. It's a divider, that. Okay. So each time you cut anything out of the soft and stable quilted sandwich piece, a quilted set, you have to seal the edges again about 1/8 of an inch from the end, so that you don't get the edges straying away from the foam on either side, which then you could end up with some naked soft and stable when you're doing the main joints. So that's what I'm just doing now on this larger piece of pocket. The inside now, this is the lining side, and so this is the inner pocket, and I'll just turn it over. This is now called the front pocket unit, and normally the requirement is to attach a zipper strip to it, but I'm not putting the zipper strip in this. It's not going to serve the purpose that I'm using it for. So I've got to move on a step, and I am losing the light. I'm going to go and get some tea very shortly. So that's where I'm up to with that. It's been quite a productive phase, this one. Although I didn't get started very well, I had to keep unpicking. I'd got doing something wrong. So I'll just give an overview. So that's the front pocket unit, and is the inside. That is the inside of the back pocket unit, which for now is just like that, and will be finished off in the next phase. So this is the next unit that will need to be done to complete. I keep saying phases and stages and units, and not talking about tomorrow. So today I'll do this and tomorrow I'll do that, because I'm just working in whatever phase I end up in, at whatever stage I'm doing in that phase of sewing. So it's not massively difficult. If I was doing it all together in 1 or 2 sessions, if you like, of sewing, then it wouldn't be massively difficult to complete in 1 or 2 sessions. But because I'm doing bits here and there, I'm just keeping track of it for you, really. And for this video, then I'm just going to join a few bits together. It's not a sew along, as you can see. I'm just bringing you along with me for parts of it, just to show you the construction, really. Now that feels very satisfying. We did go out and get some tea, and we have eaten now, but as soon as I came back, I put on the binding. I was only going to do one side, but I've turned it and sewn it, and I feel like I'm getting somewhere. So that's all been in one day. You'll know which section because I'll explain it before. Anyway, so now I'll just join my bias binding because I'm waiting for the heating to kick in properly before I have a shower and get my hair washed, because it has driven me mad today, and I want to get it washed, have it without conditioner, then I can put a colour on it tomorrow. But I'm working in the morning, so I'm going to have to scrape it back, and that's it anyway. So today I've mostly been, I've been working this morning till about 1ish or later than that. But today I have been marking the all the placement lines. I don't know if you can see, lots of little placement lines on here for all the attachments, the hook and loop, well, what I'll call Velcro, the things that hold it to itself. And I've got on parts of that now at that end and at this end, and I'm just continuing to put the pieces on that will then join themselves together when it folds over in the middle on itself, and these will end up being the bottom of each side of the bag, of the inner side of the bag. Okay, I don't know if that makes any sense. Anyway, and I've also managed to, I think I'd already done this pocket with the mesh on and the zip on. It's still not been trimmed down to size yet, but that will be attached to one of these, to this piece on the other side of it. And that is the pocket that I cut corners out of. Let me see if I can turn it. Yeah, so I cut the corners out yesterday, or whenever I did it. Yes, I don't know. At the previous session I did. So I cut the corners out, and then we joined those together. We it was explained how to join those corners together, and then they will turn out to be the front pocket of this, whatever you call it, the bag. Okay, so I'm very conscious all the time of not showing the measurements, and so that's why I kind of move it about and not have it over the ruler. And it's just that you're protecting people's intellectual property, aren't you? And it's just manners. So there's also these are tabs that have got Velcro on as well. And so when they get fastened to this, all this section, you kind of see how it works, how it all sticks itself together. So I made these in a much earlier stage. So a lot of it is about, you make things, put it to one side, make another set of components, put them to one side, and then it just becomes the creating of the three-dimensional bag. So that's where I'm at now, and I'll keep you informed. I've got a few pieces left that I haven't. I've got a handle to attach, and I've got an internal divider, so I'm doing okay is what I'm saying. Starting my sentences with okay. Okay, so you get an idea now of how this might be hanging over something or positioned over something, like over a trolley for someone with some disabilities or mobility issues. And my aim is it will have a strap on here, oops, and it will be positioned over the top of the bunk bed rail. So I'm not quite sure what, with the pieces of where the Velcro goes, they may not exactly fit between the bars on the bunk bed, but that doesn't matter. This one is just a practice. I mean, it's a real proper useful gadget, but it just may not be exactly right for what we need it. And yeah, but so it's an experiment, not really a practice kind of throwaway toile, but there you go. So I've now got all the horizontal and vertical fasteners on the inside of this bag, and now it's time for the next adventure. Hopefully we're on the final session today. So Alan has very kindly traced and cut out my templates for shaping the bag or the organiser, and I just realised as I got to the step where I have to add these, I hadn't top stitched them 1/8 of an inch all round, so I'm just going to do that and then catch myself up with what the next job is. Okay. So the 3 loop strap fasteners have been attached now, and then I will turn them up and sew them across to cover that raw edge when it's folded up. They are now sewn on and then attached, covering the raw edges underneath in the flap, and I've just got to do the other end now. So the body of the bag now is ready to have the shapes that will form the top folding over piece. So I've got the template, I've got to do my measurements, and then I've got to cut that out on each side, and then join all the things together that have to go on. So then I will be adding the things that need to go on to this side that was all marked. Okay, I've got the curves done at the top. It's ready for the handle and then for the pockets and things that are on the outside. It's quite surprising how small it is. There's a big pocket to go on it yet, but the height of it. Anyway, it's going to be fine for what I want it to be for. The handle support strap is on, and then I've just got to put the handle on. I've marked it on one side in white and one side in blue because the markings fell on the white on this side. So all these books on this shelf. Anyway, it now has a handle. Okay, got to put the other pockets on and bind it, and we're not far off finished. So I have a kind of bellow divider part attached on the back. Well, it's attached, but then it's not folded and pleated as usual, and so that's on the inside of the front of the body of the Sidekick. And then on the other side, on the handle is on, as you can see. On the other side, I have been instructed to take all these strap tabs back from the Velcro where it was attached. So I've got those away so that they're out of the way while we trim the corners, and then attached the bag, the curved bag front. So I'm just telling you that, really. Okay, I'm up to that next. It's just a great feeling when you see now how far you've come and how it's actually coming together. And although it's still not going to be that shape with that bit on the back just leaning on there, I've got to sew that pocket on now. So I should go and do some exercise and prepare my arm and back muscles for getting around those corners. Okay. Ooh, what's in that cave? We'll find out later. I don't know if you'll hear it, but the wind is really getting up now. I don't know, it's 4, something like that. And this should be my final challenge before putting the binding on. So stretch it all out so that I'm not sewing any of the back of it. And I'm going to attack this by putting this on the bed of the machine. There you go. And I will be sewing that, what we're calling a pocket, onto the flat of the body of the bag. Okie doke. You've seen me do this before, you don't need to see it again on other bags. Okay, I'll catch you up later. Now it's a bit exciting, we're nearly there. So this is on the back of the fold over piece of the Sidekick. But anyway, so where I start is, I'm going to go right in here. I start at this top left hand edge on the binding. I sew that all the way across just by 1/8 of an inch. Then when I get to the edge, I sew down 1/4 of an inch all the way down, whoops, onto the bottom and across the bottom. And then I go, that looks like it's sticking out, but it's just hanging from it. It's not lower than it, if you know what I mean. And then I go back up this side, and before I go through that zip, I catch the zip tape just so that it's anchored. It'll be anchored above from we start in there. I move the zipper pull across, and then I carry on stitching and meet that binding at the top. And then I can trim off the ends of the zips, of the zipper, both ends. And then I can curve the bottom with my 2.5 inch template and have it match the back. And then all I've got is the binding. Woohoo! To achieve that, I have to fold all this gubbins into a bunch and chuck it under there, and so that it'll go under the arch of my machine. Not a problem, done it many times before. I'll see you on the other side. Ink is prepared and I'm going to have a go now, and that will leave me a full day to get packed, to sort things out, to tidy up, to be a bit more organised and sort out what bits of Christmas we're taking with us. Okie dokie, I'll crack on. Hey up, look at that, I've got the binding all sewn on one side and curved over, awaiting attention to finish it off. Now I made the decision that while I'd love to finish it tonight, then I can be free tomorrow, I'm not going to rush it. So, as you can probably tell, there is a gale blowing outside. It is getting progressively worse from when I mentioned it before. If I can turn this over, I will just give you a glimpse on the back. Hey up, it's looking a bit smart, isn't it? It's a weird looking thing. Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for being with me so far. Well, I'm absolutely delighted with this. You can perhaps hear the washing machine in the background, but I just wanted to take a photo and then I can get packed and put it away. It's not good light, but there you go. Pockets and dividers inside should you want them. It's meant to have a zipper strip on top so that you can enclose the bag and access things at your privacy or your level of whatever you wanted to keep secure. But for the purpose I'm using it, it doesn't require that, so I've left that off. And I'm not sure about the mesh pockets, because if he's just going to store his comics in it, the pockets will be fine, but the dividers I'll just sew down. So until he's seen it, I don't know how we'll use it. I found it another very satisfying sew from a ByAnnie pattern, and it is the Sidekick. I've made a note to just use 2 1/4 inch binding, no, 2 1/8 inch binding next time. Because of the way I like to put it on, I end up just with a little bit on the extra, just a little bit extra, because it's not going over many layers. It's just the one layer of the soft and stable and a pocket, possibly on each side. So anyway, that's my, I'm not going to moan about how I've done the binding. I chose to do it that way and keep it 1/4 inch more or less from the edge, rather than from the outer edge, rather than from the fold, because I didn't want it to go too far astray on the other side. Anyway, I'm pleased with it. It's all done. And I've got 5 hours to spare. Okay, thank you.